All right, good morning, friends and colleagues. A very warm welcome to you out of a very cold and gloomy Johannesburg to this morning's Think Legal webinar, where we are very pleased to have our guest presenter, Mr. Louis Nigrini, presenting Agile Assertiveness for lawyers and mediators. As we get into it, I need to run through some housekeeping, and then we are for away. As always, please feel free to type questions in the chat bar, comment section if you are on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and we will be putting any interesting questions that pique our interest to our facilitator this morning to enhance the experience in the webinar for everyone. We are planning on running till about 11 o'clock. This is a 2-hour session. We might finish earlier, but we are going to try our absolute utmost not to finish any later than that. Please just be reminded that Louis has very, very kindly made his material available free of charge. You will see in the comments or in the message box, I'll just pop it on the screen. I have put a link down where you can download the course pack absolutely free of charge to use in your own arsenal and in your own library. So as those of you who don't have the course pack yet go to download it, let me run through our administration and then we can get into it. Folks, just a reminder, what is Think Legal? We believe in legal knowledge open to everyone. It's an initiative by Familial Attorneys where we aim to promote the open sharing of sound legal knowledge. As we all know, the delivery of legal services is for the most part a commercial venture, and we acknowledge that. However, we do uphold the notion that legal knowledge should be a public resource meant to be freely available to everyone, and that's why we started Think Legal all the way back in 2020. And we run these types of webinars, events, WhatsApp groups, etc. For those of you who would like a little bit more information about what we do through the Think Legal initiative, please go to thinklegal.coza. You can register for events, you can join our WhatsApp groups, purchase resources, and also access past webinars which are hosted on our official YouTube channel. Currently, we have 3 WhatsApp groups. We have an event notification WhatsApp group, which is open to everyone. And then we have the family law WhatsApp group, as well as the commercial litigation and labor law WhatsApp groups, which are vetted and which are reserved for industry professionals. Just a note, folks, this session will be recorded. You can watch it live on demand either on StreamYard or on YouTube, absolutely free of charge after the session has concluded. So here are some save the dates for the rest of the year. Next save the date is the 7th of February 2025. That is our family law roundup for January 2025, and I will be taking you through the major family law cases which were published throughout January of this year to keep you in the loop of what is happening in family law in South Africa. Then further, we have some paid CPD trainings which will be taking place later this year, which have been accredited for CPD points by SARM. We have 3 that we are running in the first half of this year. The Children's Act Deep Dive on 12 and 13 February, Drafting for Divorce on 9 and 10 April, and Divorce 101 on 3, 4, and 5 June of 2025. Children's Act Deep Dive and Drafting for Divorce are accredited for 5 SARM CPD points, and Divorce 101 is accredited for 6 SARM CPD points. You can attend each one individually for 850 Rand or attend all 3 sessions for a discounted rate of 2,200 Rand. To register, please go to thinklegal.coza and go to our events, and you can purchase tickets from our online shop to attend these courses. The courses are filling up quite rapidly, and we are only giving a limited number of seats just to keep it interactive. So please do not miss out. Then we have our free monthly webinars. Please do save the dates. Today, we are doing Agile Assertiveness with Mr. Louis Nigrini. And then next month, the 28th of February, I'm going to be presenting AI Literacy, a Legal Perspective. We had a very, very interesting judgment that landed about 2 weeks ago, where the KwaZulu-Natal High Court had some very serious things to say about practitioners utilizing AI in drafting court papers. And interestingly, I had a little incident myself this morning looking for some case law and saying to ChatGPT, please give me this case. And it gave me a beautiful case with a citation. Go to the link. It's not that case. So I type in, is this case fictitious? And then, like a naughty child, ChatGPT pipes up and says, yes, this is based on what a case from this and this would look like. It is not a real case. So be very, very careful when using ChatGPT. Friends and colleagues, please join me on the 28th of February for AI Literacy, a Legal Perspective, which is going to be presented as a free webinar. You can register for that by going to thinklegal.co.za, and those of you who got the reminder email for today will also have the link to register for that one. Please take note, folks, whilst today's session on Agile Assertiveness is being presented as a free session, we will be presenting it, and save the date. It's not yet on our social media to purchase tickets, but Louis and I have decided to also run a deeper dive into this, a 4-hour Agile Assertiveness course on the 18th and the 19th of March. So the 18th and the 19th of next month, which will be a CPD course. As soon as our CPD accreditation has come through, that course will go live and you will be able to purchase tickets. So if anything that Louis says today piques your interest, you are more than welcome to join us on the 18th and the 19th of March. Right, so without any further ado, and just in closing, our last bit of housekeeping, thank you to our supporting organizations, Lawbox Practice Management Software, lawbox.co.za, try it free for 14 days, and my colleagues at Vermeulen Attorneys for being very patient with me as I do webinars every Friday morning. And you'll see our lovely picture of the sea behind there as we are celebrating the launch of our North Coast Ballito branch on the 3rd of February 2025. Righto, folks, so Agile Assertiveness and Agile assertiveness in communication, why it is important. Lawyers in the room, that includes attorneys and advocates, I remind you of paragraph 3.14 of the Code of Conduct for all legal practitioners, candidate legal practitioners, and juristic entities, which reads as follows: legal practitioners, candidate legal practitioners, and juristic entities shall behave towards their colleagues, whether in private practice or otherwise, including any legal practitioner from a foreign jurisdiction, and towards members of the public, with integrity, fairness, and respect, and without unfair discrimination, and shall avoid any behavior which is insulting or demeaning. Friends and colleagues, we are called upon to interact with one another respectfully and without resorting to insults or demeaning conduct. Mediators, in case you feel that you are off the hook, I would remind you of the NABFAM, Code of Professional Conduct for Mediators, paragraph 3b, Roman numeral 4, which reads that the mediator shall conduct the process with fairness to all parties and will take particular care to ensure that all parties have adequate opportunities to be heard, to be involved in the process, and to have the opportunity to seek and obtain legal or other counsel before finalizing any resolution. Now, folks, this sounds quite simple when we read it on a screen. However, as a room full of family professionals and family law practitioners, we know that that is not necessarily easy. And I echo to you the words of the Western Cape High Court in RH versus NM, which is a judgment that emanated from March last year, where the judge remarked that there is such fierce contestation and acrimony between the parties that their experience and narration of events is more than likely somewhat clouded by bias and self-interest. And the court then remarking that this is not unusual in matters of this kind. The court stating what we as family professionals know. We deal with people in distress who are very emotionally charged, very often high conflict individuals. And for that reason, it is so important for us to remain on the straight and narrow with our communication. And for that reason, I have managed to rope in Mr. Louis Nigrini, who I'm very, very excited to have in this webinar today, who is going to be presenting to us Agile Assertiveness for lawyers and mediators. I'll put Louis on the screen as I read out his bio for all of you. Louis has 23 years of experience as a leader, business owner, manager, mentor, author, and he is an award-winning public speaker. He has extensive experience in facilitating strategic sessions and business optimization conversations with a variety of companies. He is a facilitator with years of experience and more than 750 hours of online facilitation and coaching nationally and internationally. For those of you, and if I may deviate from his bio, who have been in one of Louis' sessions before, you will know that we are in for a treat. So, folks, let's hand over the floor to Mr. Louis Nigrini to take us through Agile Assertiveness. Just before I give the mic to Louis, please do use the chat bar and talk with us. If you've got questions, pop them in there. I'll put them through to Louis, and it is great to give our speakers some feedback. So, Louis, over to you.
Thank you, Mervyn. Thank you for that amazing introduction. It's like I wrote it myself. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is so nice to join you. Like Mervyn said, it is a little bit cloudy in Johannesburg today, but let us warm ourselves up with the knowledge that we are doing important work for the people that we are serving as we are building our companies. So like Mervyn said, I am an executive coach. I do management and leadership training. And part of our biggest part that we do with managers and leaders is the concept of communication. And that it's important for you to clearly articulate and clearly share your ideas and your thoughts in such a way that it actually gets to achieve what you set out to achieve. So what I'm striving to achieve for you today is to give you some information about assertiveness, how you can think about it, what are the other or the darker sides of assertiveness, and how you can look out for those pitfalls specifically within the lawyer and the mediating fields that we are finding ourselves in today. So like Mervyn said, he is going to be playing the role of moderator. So please feel free to, in the chat, ask any questions. I will have some slots at the end of each section that we are managing or that we are going through to ask some questions. So I would like to ask, please keep it short. The reason for that is if you're writing a whole novel in the chat, Mervyn needs to read that. So please keep it nice and short for him. But also, while you are writing your novel, you might be missing small little pieces that might add to your understanding and your appreciation for the topic that we have today. So all of that being said, now that you know who I am, the question that I would like to ask is, who are you? So in the chat, if you would be so kind as just to quickly tell us who you are, which company or organization you are representing and in what capacity, and then also just for interest's sake, where are you based? Anybody in the Cape, please don't share it. We are all jealous. No, I'm kidding. So please share that in the chat that we can just kind of see where we are at and where you are at. So for me, for the outcome for today is I would like to focus on your ability to be agile and assertively agile in the variety of situations and relationships. As we are working through the content today, please feel free to put on the hat of a business owner, working with your staff, but also to put on the hat of being in a relationship, being in, if you're doing anything outside of work, if there's a volunteer organization that you're part of, to keep all of those things in mind. And also your mother-in-law. You can keep in mind your mother-in-law. So please keep in mind all of these things and all these relationships and how you could best manage and work through them in a constructive way. So what are we going to be looking at today? Well, very easily, we're going to start with a couple of definitions. Why? Because we need to know what we're talking about. And then we're going to go into the 4 communication types when we talk about assertiveness, the 4 main ones that we are there. And then we're going to do a little bit of reflection at the end where I'm going to ask you to share what stood out for you today. So the final question for today is, what did you get? What did you appreciate? What stood out for you? What are you going to try to do differently? How are you going to approach this differently going forward? So all of that being said, let's get into this. So definitions of assertiveness, and you can follow along on the participant guide. All these definitions are there. The basics of assertiveness is what Sir Isaac Newton said. He said, assertiveness is the art of making your point without making an enemy. Now, I don't know if you have relationship experiences that I've had, that there is a way that we say things. You know, when your partner says, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. Yes, that is true. So many a times it's not in the content of what we're saying, but the way that we approach it. And the way that we approach it many a times also comes from our hurts, our triggers, our unresolved issues, or something else that we're pushing for. It's not about the topic. It's about something else altogether that comes into play. So if I'm driving down the road and I'm cutting a guy off and he's on his horn and he's giving me the fingers, that's all about him. There's something there about him that he needs to work through. That's not me. I'm listening to Andrea Bocelli and My Little Bubble, and he's listening to hardcore music. So keep that in mind as we are going forward to make sure that you understand what is at play here. Another definition is assertive communication is the ability to express positive and negative ideas and feelings in an open, honest, and direct way. It is recognizing our rights while also respecting the rights of others. Assertiveness is not shying away from a difficult conversation, but it's not being a blunt object that just kind of hits everyone with everything that it has. There's a way of dealing with difficult conversations, and specifically the mediators in the room, you would understand that what we're trying to solve is many a times the challenge. It's not, we need to define the problem that we're trying to solve. In our practice, we always tell people, we solve the problem, we don't solve the person. If we don't have clarity about what the problem is, it's easy to get sidetracked like, but you're always like this, and you're always like that. What's the problem that we're trying to solve? If we can get clarity on that, it shifts the focus from attacking to working together to focus on something outside of ourselves, and then we can accomplish something. And we can accomplish something without me feeling that you're attacking me, or you need to fix me, or you think that I'm broken or stupid, or they're speaking down to me. We can have something external that we could fix. So one of the best questions to ask in assertiveness is always is, what's the problem that we're trying to solve? And what's the best way to do that? So as we go through this, I'll use some examples as we go forward. Here is the very basic definition for you to keep in mind as we go through today. Assertiveness, say what you mean what you say, just don't be mean. Say what you mean what you say, just don't be mean. Now, if any of you, like me, had an older sibling, you would know that this is true. That there is a way that brother or sister spoke to you, even though they're speaking truth, but it's just like that little niggly thing that gets in and gets under your skin. And they know which buttons to push. And they know how to get you riled up. And then the outcome is because that's what they want. They want to be in control. They want to kind of work the system. And that is true when we are in negotiations. That is true when we are in relationships. That's true when we are in a work environment and there's competition. There's something that I would like to achieve other than just communicating this truth to you. So keep that in mind as we are working through this to kind of see what there are. So let's get into this. We are going to be talking about communication styles, and there are 4 communication styles that I've highlighted for you today. And we are going to go through these one by one. And these are the 4 basic styles in assertive communication to look out for. So when we have a quadrant like you see on screen, you'll see that there are 4 main quadrants that comes into play. And the things that determine it, if we start at the top, is there's an openness for communication. That means I am happy to share my ideas. I am comfortable in expressing my ideas. I'm comfortable in speaking my mind. The opposite of that is there are people that have low openness. So even though they talk, they don't necessarily say a lot. They might you, but they're not going to share their opinion necessarily for whichever reason, which we'll get into, or they have a struggle of finding the right words and this, structuring their communication in such a way. And then ChatGPT comes into play and all the things that so there's a low openness, there's a low willingness of sharing or, showing the cards that you have. Then when we look at the horizontal continuum, on the left-hand side, there's a low consideration for others. That just means that I will just kind of, without a filter or without understanding or even acknowledging of you as a person, just kind of go for it and just, say the most insensitive things. Why? Because it's to my benefit. In my communication, I need to win. Can I just say that again? In our communication, I need to win. Now, if that's the approach that you take to an interaction, is that I'm having a conversation with my partner because I want to win. I'm having a conversation with my boss because I want to win. I'm having a conversation with my child because I want to win. That is a low consideration for others. And we'll see how that pans out and what some of the challenges are that we can associate with regards to this. And then to the right-hand side, when we look at the horizontal continuum, there's a high consideration for others. There's understanding that words have power. There's understanding that I can say things even if my intention is good, that the way that the other person accepts it might be a little bit more challenging, that they might not take it in the way that I meant it. Now, what's interesting is when we have conversations with staff, people are always like, oh, but it's not that how I meant it. When we think of ourselves, we're always like, my intention was good. I had a good idea. It came from a good place. But when we look at other people, I don't care what your intention was. This is how I felt. This is how it came across. So we have like a split bar. When we talk about ourselves, we talk about my heart was pure. Even though it came out kind of crummy, I had good intentions. But we don't necessarily avail that to the other person, to know that maybe the words that they used were not how they meant it. So just a sideline note. Many times when we have conversations with people, giving the other person the benefit of the doubt is a first step to understanding. To say, is there another way that you could have meant it? Or, this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing 1, 2, and 3. Is this how you meant it? Now, what happens immediately is, one, the person feels that you are listening. So they're like, okay, cool. So I don't need to fight. I don't need to shout. Louis is understanding where I'm coming from. Right. So we diffuse it immediately. Or two, we give them an opportunity to bail themselves out. So I just want to know, you mentioned the following. You said 1, 2, and 3. Is that how you meant it? Yeah, I want to say your nose is crooked and your hair looks really bad. Okay, cool. So now at least we know where we're standing. Or like, is that what you meant? No, okay, no, sorry, there was miscommunication. Let me express it again. So just taking the beat, just taking a moment, just giving the person the opportunity to express and explain themselves. Now, please also note, this is a very good negotiation tactic. You want to get the other person speaking, because the more the other person speaks, the more information you have that you can counter, the more options you have to see what the glaring opportunity is for you, or what the lack of argument might be. If people are playing their cards close to their chest the whole time, it's difficult to kind of, see what they want to do or see where they want to go. But if you're asking questions and you're really intrigued and you're really interested in what they're saying, kind of opens the floor for you to get more information and have a constructive solving conversation. What's the problem that we're trying to solve? So all of that being said, let's get into the types of communication and communication behavior that we have. And the first one we're going to get into is the bottom right-hand one. So that is someone that has a high consideration for other people, but a low openness. So this is generally someone that is always focusing on someone else. And the best picture I could find is this. Like, welcome, walk all over me. Now, if you've ever done mediation, and there is a very big power difference between the two parties. Let's say we are doing mediation with regards to a divorce, and there is a very strong spouse, verbally very strong, assertive and very strong, almost aggressive. this can be male or female, but someone that is just a presence. And when they speak, people are kind of like, oh, and they express themselves in such a way. The opposite and the person associated with that might be someone that is more passive. So to make it really easy, what I thought about is just to express all of this in terms of animals. And this is the best animal I could find when we come to passiveness, is a little mouse. Someone that kind of shies away. Someone that's, the whole idea is trying to, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to be front and center. I don't want to draw attention. I would rather just withdraw myself from the conversation so that whatever. So we have almost a fight or flee or freeze mentality. When something comes at me, my approach to this is I hunker down. I say less, I speak quietly, all the things that come to the fore. So what are some of the giveaway signs when you see someone else? If you're sitting in a consultation as an awesomely assertive person, you've got clients coming through the door. Let's say you're doing a divorce mediation and there's two parties. How can you see that there's a passive communication? Someone that is just kind of going along with the ride. So here are some things. They use a soft or hesitant or apologetic tone of voice. It's the type of person that I'm so sorry. I'm struggling to find my words. It kind of feels like they are always. Is that okay? They're almost always asking for permission. They want to make sure that you're okay, even if it's at their own expense. They don't want to say something because it might offend you, and it offends you, that puts them in a place of harm because maybe you attack them. So if I say something to Mervyn, and I don't know how he's going to take it, so maybe I say something about Mervyn and say, Mervyn, your hair looks bad today. And if there's not a relational strength, Mervyn can blow like, whoa, how do you dare? And now I'm going to draw back. So what's the best part? I just don't say anything. And how we manage this within relationships is, if you are there and this is a person that's party to conversation, you need to, one, give them a platform and a voice to speak, and then you need to protect it. So if there are people speaking over each other, and it's like, okay, wait, we're going to ask Mrs. Mouse now. We're going to ask Minnie Mouse to speak now. And Mickey Mouse, I don't, okay, no, fine. And then, Donald Duck comes, oh, no, we should do, no, wait, Mr. Donald, wait. Mrs. Mouse is speaking. And now Mrs. Mouse is like, oh, wow. Oh, look at this guy. Look at this lady. She's giving me an opportunity to speak, and they're protecting my voice. And then active listening comes in, shaking your head, making sure, giving feedback. Am I correct in saying that this is what you're saying? Now, please note, the drawback of this is they never disagree with what people says. So even if they say, you know what, I was thinking we could go out to pizza tonight. And you're like, yeah, so what I'm hearing you saying is you want to go to Cresta and we can go to, we can go and have a burger. Not what you said. But they don't want difficulty, so what are they going to do? Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, it's okay. Whatever you want. I just don't want conflict. And that's the type of level that they have. They have difficulty expressing needs. There's a song in the 90s that goes, it's the Spice Girls. Just tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I wanna, wiki, zig, zig. They don't know. And many a times when we ask these people, what do you really want? What do you want from this? It's difficult for them to even find the words, because that's not a question they're accustomed to being asked. Or even if someone asks them the question, it's like, the guy's just being nice to me. It's not really that he wants to know what my opinion is. So I'm just going to give something short and then kind of see where the relationship takes me. If you do not take the time to drop the volume, to slow down the pace, really engage with the person, they're going to give you very high-level answers in the hope that you would stop asking them and just kind of move on from there. If you are working on a relationship with someone of this capacity, there's an inability to say no. Why? Because I don't want to be in conflict with you. So I would rather do things at my own expense and stay late and, do the filing of the paperwork that you've asked me to do than say, no, I can't. I need to get to my kid's recital. I would rather take the punishment at home than take the punishment with my boss. So there's adversity towards conflict. So what do they say? I just don't say no. I say yes to everything. Do I look nice today? Yes. Can you do this for me? Yes. Can you stay late? Yes. There's this. I'm pressing myself down. I'm making myself smaller. I'm making myself almost invisible in the hope that I don't draw attention and I don't want to ruffle feathers. They have an avoidance or a fear when it comes to conflict. So if there's anything that might be even remotely contentious, they would step away. That's fine. The divorce, yeah, I'll just sign. Just draw it up. I'll sign whatever you want me to sign. No, I don't think we should fight this. You know what? The guy, he screwed me over. I'm out of 150K now, but you win some, you lose some. But I don't want to fight anymore. I just don't want to fight. Now, what happens is if there's a history of oppression, if there's a history of being put down, if there's a history of being muted, if there's a history of being pushed away, this can be, in many instances, kind of the personality that I'm taking on. It's not just the communication style. It now becomes part of my identity. I am a person that struggles to communicate. I'm a person that struggles to express myself in a constructive way. So there might be an avoidance of eye contact and a feeling, a sense of conflict. There's not a sense of conflict, just being intimidated. How are you doing? I'm all right, thank you. It's more of a downward, inward, making sure that I'm almost non-seen. In the 90s, there were all these movies about, you take the shy little duckling and they become this amazing girl with a red dress at the end of the movie. Yay! But that shy little duckling, some people get stuck there. And some people in relationships gets verbally abused in there, or other abused in there, or just oppressed in there, or just whatever the circumstances were, that you are seen and not heard. That you have an opinion, it's just not one that I want. Your tears have got no bearing here. That's the type of person that kind of gets stuck. And when anything is like, there's a matter of, I'm raising my voice, I'm being a little bit more forceful, I'm asking a direct question, I need you to explain yourself, and any of that comes up, the person shuts down. And what's difficult is you'll never really know what this person is thinking because they don't want to offend you. It's difficult for them to have an opinion that is other than yours, because even if they have an opinion, they're not going to share it out of fear that there's going to be rejection or fear that something else is going to happen towards them. And that adds to the last part, is they refuse to make decisions. Why? Well, it's quite easy. Hey, Mervyn, you want to go out to a beer tonight? Yeah, sure. Where do you want to go? No, wherever you want to go. Now I'm thinking we should go to this, craft beer. Mervyn doesn't even like beer. Whatever you want to do is fine. And now if you're a lawyer and you're a little bit forceful, the challenge is that if you have a client like this and you kind of push the point, you can actually push them into a decision that they might not be on board with. And the challenge with that is that we do things in clarity, like, we want the best for you. I really think that this is what you should do. But there's a sense that the person needs to take that decision for themselves. And if we don't understand this and we are too forceful, we can actually force them into a decision. And if it doesn't work out, blame is on you. That's why we let the family take responsibility for medical decisions. The doctors can do things up to a point, and then it's like, what would you like to do? How would you like us to proceed? And in law, it's the same thing. There are things that you do to put in place, and then there's that other point of what is your opinion with regards to this? And if we're not clear on what that line is, passive people, we can easily push them into a corner, for good or for bad. The outcome of passive communication is that it makes you invisible. It's not that I don't value your opinion. It's just every time I've asked you what you think, you either didn't give me a clear answer, or you said, no, whatever he thinks. So eventually in a room of 4 people, if you're consistent saying, no, whatever they think, why are you in the room? I don't need your opinion because your opinion is the same as other people's. So I don't value you. I don't recognize you. Why? Because you've put yourself in a place where you're almost camouflaging because you don't want to get hurt. Now, let me just press pause here. Please note that within your life, we have different relationships. And as we go through this, you might find yourself as, as a lawyer or a mediator. No, I'm kind of quite cool and assertive here. That's cool. But then there are other relationships that you are in that you might take a step back. Not like passive, as I've explained it into, the extreme, but there's a little bit more of a step back. And, when I'm out with that person, they normally take lead. I'm cool with that. They can go. And I'm normally, take more of a passenger, even a little bit of passive communication. But in a relationship with my son, I am, going forward. In a relationship with my mother-in-law, passive aggressiveness comes out, So it's not that you are one person the whole time. But the outcome for today is to say, can we just kind of up the assertiveness in all these relationships? So even if you think of, poor little Minnie Mouse with a high-pitched voice sitting in the corner, feeling battered as an invisible or passive communication person, please note that there's a part of that within you depending on the relationships that you're in. I'm a quite well-spoken guy. I'm cool with who I am. I'm happily married. I am good at communicating and expressing my thoughts. There are people in my life that when I'm in their presence, I just kind of tone down and have a lot more respect is the one word, which is like, no, I don't want to ruffle the feathers here. I could just kind of go, that's fine. Let's just take the path of least resistance through this. So we talk about passive communication. The result of passive communication, it's difficult to establish healthy relationships. Why? If I'm in a friendship with John and I'm struggling to find out what John really likes. So John, would you like to? Yeah. Do you think? I don't know. Is it okay? Yeah. Would you like? I don't know. It's difficult for me to know where John starts and ends, what would bless John or what John's triggers are. So I can't have a healthy relationship. I don't know what I should be on the lookout for. I don't know what I need to apologize for. I don't know how I can bless John. So many times I'm like, okay, I'll just take control and kind of make the decisions for the boys' weekend, and I'll make the choices, and we'll go. And you just need to come along. And there's other people who are like, no, I can't go on. No, I need to be in control. So if you're a passive communicator, you have difficulty to have healthy relationships. Secondly, it seems like you're a pushover, that you lack confidence. If I push hard enough, you'll kind of bend it to my way. Now, again, if that's for a good reason, let's have conversations. But many a times, if I can play you like a fiddle, I'll just find the tune. So when there's a lack of confidence, it's easier to go with the stream. Now, if you're in the blessed position to have children, grace be upon you. It's the third day of school. But if this is the communication style that your child has, let's say a high school child, and a passiveness and a lack of confidence, you'll find that the way that they go is the person that shouts the loudest. And if the internal voice is not established or not confident enough in the internal voice, you have a little mouse being intimidated by everything louder and bigger than he or she is. And that becomes a different challenge all on its own. And the last one, it leads to feelings of depression, helplessness, resentment, and frustration. And the challenge with this is that if you are in a relationship or you see someone that is passive, you will never know this. This is not the type of person that's going to come out and say, I just want to say, when you mentioned that, it really hurt me. Or when you approached it like that, I didn't think that was the best possible way to go. They will internalize. What do they say? Why do you cry in the shower? Because then no one can see your tears. It's that type of person that kind of goes into their own shell. There's a lot of thought happening. It's not that there's a lack of emotion or a lack of thought or a lack of opinion. It's just between the head, the heart, and the mouth. There's a structure that says, no, you can't say that. No, you can't ask that. No, you can't do that. And it's this inhibiting a feeling of, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I want. I'm not getting there. So how do we deal with this? So I asked one of my lawyer friends, how do lawyers communicate? And they said, they don't. So no, I'm kidding. So what I've done specifically for this session is I've broken down that there are 3 main topics that we are going to be looking at every single time for each of the communication styles. And the first one is when we talk about written communication. If you are receiving a letter, let's say from a colleague or from one of your clients or a service provider, and passive communication is there, the way that you identify it is you'll see that there's a lot of vague language. You once mentioned that maybe sometimes it is possible that we could negotiate for me paying less, but it wasn't given in that much detail, so there's not a, like you said, I'm going to get a discount. There's always kind of a, dancing around the truth of what's supposed to be there. Apologies for expressing my opinion. I'm so sorry. I don't want to insult you, but no, we can't do that. It's always like that, specifically in written communication, avoiding direct statements, focusing on pleasing others, and it's when challenged, they'll back down. So if you get a communication like this and you want to be really almost pushy assertive, you go like, as per your writing. Paragraph 1, this is the issue that I have with you. Paragraph 2, and you kind of systematically dismantle it, the whole communication falls to the floor. Why? They're not going to come back and challenge that. Please note that if you have a passive communication client that is exposed to someone else in the legal entity, that is that's a soft spot that they can go for every single time. If I push you hard enough, you will draw back into your stance. How to respond to it? If you respond with clear and direct stating your position, I feel we should, and express your need and feelings, and be respectful but firm in your communication. I am not forcing you, I'm asking you, I'm putting forward a request. As mentioned in your email, this is my response to it. I feel we should do this. I feel we should do this. The conversation is about me. It's not about them. Because if you can make it about them, they're going to close up like a clam and you're done for. Specifically in negotiations, the person will just close down. And if there's a shred of a little bit of vindictiveness, they will close down and say no. And that's the end of the conversation. You won't be able to take it forward from regards to that. The second part is, how do you negotiate with someone that has a passive communication style? So if you're doing mediation with kids, there's 2 kids, and now we need to figure out, when are they going with mom, when are they going with dad? It's a delicate dance that we're doing, and now you have a passive person with regards to that. The identifying it is easily given into demands, avoiding conflict, and prioritizing the other party's needs over their own. So if I ask long enough and strong enough, she'll just fold. She'll just give me what I want. So if you are a person representing someone with a passive communication, someone else will take. The Chinese water torture method. If I drip consistently and long enough, you will go crazy. So same with this person. If I request, eventually they'll just, I don't know, I don't want to fight anymore. So how do you respond to that? Clearly state your interests and priorities, be prepared to negotiate and compromise, and maintain a firm but respectful stance. If the other person is passive and you want to be righteous in the way that you do things, state what the issue is, state how you got there, state what your priorities are, and ask them, what would you like? And then allow them time to speak their mind. And please don't correct them, don't belittle them. Don't like, I can't believe that you said that. I can't believe that that's the approach that you want to take. How stupid are you? Done. Never going to have a conversation to that level of deepness ever again. The third part that we want to just highlight is, how do you handle this in conflict? So it's easy with passive people because they avoid conflict. They just don't want to be part of it. You can see there on participant guide, page 5, they withdraw from the situation and they allow others to walk all over themselves. If this is coupled with any level of abuse or and abuse can be in various terms, not just like, a fist to the face. It can be verbal, it can be at the presence, it can be that, remember last time, it's all of those things. And if that comes into play, the conflict avoidance just kicks in. Don't want to fight, just don't. How to react to that? Actively engage in conflict resolution process. What's the conflict? What's the problem? What's the ideal future that we would like to have for you and for me? What's going to work for both of us? How do we get there? What do we need to put in place? What do we need to compromise on? Would you be willing to give this? Will we be willing to get this? Let's meet each other halfway. But engaging and drawing into the conversation the whole time. It's a process. Okay? So actively engage in conflict resolution process, express their needs and concerns clearly and respectfully, and work towards a mutually agreeable solution. Mrs. Nikki, I hear that you have a need to have the children over Easter for an extended period. I can acknowledge that. On the flip side, Mr. Louis has requested that we do the following. How can we find each other? Or how can we negotiate with regards to that? Not like, you are stupid, he is right, let's go. The outcome is that if we understand, did you hear how the bridge vibrated under our footsteps? Sometimes we need to come alongside someone to give them the power, to give them a platform to say, wow, I really appreciated the way that you handled that. If someone is coming from a very bad relational reality with regards to, again, I want to say abuse, it's not all of that, but, just a toxic work environment, a bad home, with mothers being, speaking verbally, or dads doing bad things, or whatever the case might be. If someone comes from that background, part of assertiveness is coming alongside them and allowing them the opportunity to speak, allowing them the opportunity to express themselves. If you are married to a person or in a relationship with someone that has a passive tendency, the best you can do for them is to create a safe space. Psychologically, Dr. and Prof. Amy Emerson talks about psychological safety. It's a place where you can express your thoughts without the fear of being judged. That you can say, I support the Stormers. And no one's going to go like, oh, how stupid are you? I mean, the Blue Bulls, the only thing. It's like, no. I can express this as a safe space. I can say that I enjoy the Backstreet Boys. I can say that I really want to go to bed at 7 tonight. I don't want to go out tonight. I really want to say that I don't like that friend of our son's. And it's a safe space. Where can I express that without being judged? So if you have someone that is passive in your life, please come alongside them and shake the earth together. Give them a space where they can express themselves, and being associated with you, you actually help them move forward with regards to that. So that is everything to do with passive communication. Mervyn, I'm going to hand it over to you. Ladies and gents, if you have any questions or remarks with regards to that, please share that. Let's see if there's any answers, questions with regards to passive communication that you would like to answer. Mervyn?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Louis, for that section on passive communication. I like the safe space idea of liking the Backstreet Boys, and I can then confess my Taylor Swift the fact that I quite like. You see, I'm all tongue-tied now. I can't even speak. Right, Louis, so moving swiftly along, pun intended. We have 2 or 3 very interesting points that were made in the chats. I'm not going to put it on just to keep the people's names private. So, folks, just remember we've got 3 more communication styles coming up. We've still got aggressive, passive aggressive, and assertive coming up. So please do stick around, and thank you to everyone who has stuck around until now. The first one, one of our participants said, and I think you dealt with it very, very nicely in how one's communication style changes. They said, I'm great at assertiveness overall, but I immediately feel intimidated by older aggressive attorneys. It feels immediately that I don't know what I'm doing. And I think it talks to your point of being on a scale. At sometimes you can be aggressive in your communication style, and other times a bit more passive.
I want to say, I think the main thing that comes into play there is a power difference. So if you're coming in as a young attorney, 27, all bushy-eyed and bright-eyed, like, woohoo, you're going to be awesome, and you meet this old geezer guy that's He's been there, he's been around the block, he's seen some stuff. And he comes from a different era of life, a different generation. He's been the boss for 25 years. He does not take, he doesn't take any BS from anybody. He's like, I come in. And now, even though you have a good idea, the intimidation factor is just so much more. And that is truth with someone that is 5 years ahead of you, someone that might be a different gender to you. Let's make it male, female, a big, aggressive guy with a deep voice. Someone just takes them more seriously, and it's easy to be intimidated by people like that. So the outcome is know your worth. Know who you are, know the value that you bring, and I'm only intimidated if I allow myself to be. And yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Awesome. Then a second point that someone made, which I quite like, I don't know if you're going to deal with it a little bit later, but let me put it to you anyway. They said, I'm convinced that assertiveness is largely about taking responsibility for the communication or decision made.
So yes and no. So on the one hand, assertiveness, let's just talk about communication. Successful communication is when you understand what I mean. So I'm married to Polly. Polly is an awesome wife. The worst thing that Polly can ever tell me is, but I told you. Like, I know that you told me, but I didn't hear it. The fact that you said it doesn't mean that I got it. So many a times when we talk about communication, it's like the fact that you wrote the email, the fact that you explained it to your client, the fact that you engaged in a conversation does not mean that understanding was transferred. So as a communicating specialist, or as a communicating, the person that's communicating, it's not my job to tell you. It's my job to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from or what the next step and the next action should be. We're going to get into that a little bit later when we talk about assertiveness. Right. Anything else, Mervyn? Or can we move along?
That's it. Moving along swiftly.
So let's move on to mother-in-laws. No, I'm kidding. So let's move on to the third part, and that is passive aggressiveness. So when we had passive, they were willing to lose so that you could win. When we get to passive aggressiveness, it nukes all the way through. So what we get is that passive aggressiveness comes in where you don't know who the person is. And the best possible animal that I could find was actually a little hippo. And the hippo is 2 ears. There's not a lot that you see, but there's a lot happening under the water. And passive aggressive people kind of come across as that. So what are some of the giveaway signs? Well, the best thing is the Tyler Bing way. They are specialists at sarcasm. Why? Because if I make a joke, it's just a joke, but it still hurts. So I'm still achieving the goal that I want to achieve, but I'm kind of throwing it in that way. Oh, okay. Ooh, I didn't know that, we came late at this job. I didn't know that, office hours only start at 10:30. Mervyn can't come to me and like, Louis, we agreed that office hours starts at 9. It's not cool that you are late. He hopes that when he speaks loud enough to someone across the room over there, that Louis will also hear it. So he can't come to me directly and say, this is what I want. There's kind of a way around of speaking and getting to the point. Or, there's some people that think that you actually, it's a stuff, something bad for someone if you give them silent treatment. Some people would just like to have silent treatment from you. They would like you to just kind of not say anything for a little while. But now we get, the silent treatment with, the grunts. And if there's no reaction to that, they'll go like, and then there's, the grunts, the passive aggressive grunts of walking past going like, oh, this place is so dirty. And we get that. We get the side remark. You cannot acknowledge your anger and often deny problems. Are you okay? I'm fine. Everything is okay. I can't come out and tell you what the problem is because, again, I don't want conflict, but I don't want you to win either. So apart from passiveness, I'm coming up and I'm telling you what I need and what I want. I'm just doing it in a way that's destructive to both of us. You use veiled threats and indirect commentary, never direct confrontation. So if I want to threaten Mervyn, what I would do is I would say, John, you know what? Some people should just know where their place is. And if some people can just, submit the things on the right time, then everybody will be in a better place. I'm not going directly to Mervyn. I'm hoping that he gets what I mean from that. Now, many a times this comes out if there's a power difference and it's the mid-level person. So I can't speak to the boss. I can't correct the boss. I can't speak up to the boss. So what am I doing? I'm throwing out a lot of nails in the hope that they see that something is wrong. You know what they mean if you're listening, but they say it in such a way that it almost feels like, geez, can you just not offend me anymore? They go along with what's suggested, but later they complain about it secretly, doing things, and they might even sabotage it. Can everybody come in agreement that we are going to go to, Spur tonight? Yeah, yes, okay, fine. And then tonight at the Spur, no, I never heard. No one ever asks for my opinion. There's a sushi special tonight, but does anyone listen to me? No. And I hope the food is bad. I hope that tonight it rains and then we can't sit outside in the patio because that's what they wanted to go with. And it's this negative the whole time. It's just like a little thing that just goes like this the whole time. And it's negative, negative, negative. They want to get back at someone without realizing that they're angry. I'm not going to show you poker face. I'm not going to show you that I'm angry. But suddenly, I will just close the lift door before you're there. Suddenly, I won't necessarily tell you on time that the report was needed. I will tell you, but you won't have enough time. And it's almost this active sabotage. There's all this, spy things coming in play. I'm not going to tell you that it was me, but you will know that it's not the way it's supposed to be. And then they can act all innocent and play dumb when they're confronted. Oh no, that's fine. It's that typical Jim Carrey, to the camera, it's like, yay! And as soon as the person that he's speaking to turns away, like, does all the bad faces. That's passive aggressiveness. I don't know who you are. I don't know what I'm dealing with because it's face swapping the whole time. And they give backhanded compliments. Jeez, Mervyn, I don't know if I'll be able to pull off a shirt like that. Is it a compliment? Is it not? Is it really? Can I take it? And that's the challenge. And the thing about passive aggressiveness, it leaves you mistrusted. I can't trust what he's telling me because I don't know if that's what he means. I hear the words, but there's an interpretation there that can be negative, and most often that will be it. Now, the outcome of that is if you are struggling, or the result of passive aggressiveness is if you are seen as two-faced, you are untrustworthy, you are manipulative, and you're sneaky. So if you're in negotiations with another lawyer and they're passive aggressive, there's a conversation like, yo. And then the next moment you hear they went another way, they got another court summons, and now you are, up the creek without a paddle because what you agreed upon is not what they're doing now. But to your face, they'll be like, no, it's fine. And then they go and do things because they couldn't negotiate. They don't want to, work through the difficult parts. So they'll just go do something sneaky. It'll stifle your personal growth. Why? You won't have friends. If I can't trust you, I can't work with you. If I can't trust you, I can't be in a relationship with you. If I can't trust you, I can't be in a sports team with you. If I can't trust you, I can't be in a business with you. The worst part is, if I can't trust you, I can't have you as a client. But that also happens. Okay, and damage to relationships through sarcasm, ambiguity, and insinuation. You can just tell me what I want. No, I can't. So how do you deal with passive-aggressive people? Well, let's get into this. So passive-aggressive, how do you identify that? When it comes to communication, sarcasm, backhanded compliments, gossip, procrastination, and sabotage. You get an email from the client. I know that you are a professional lawyer. I'm just questioning the professionality with regards or how professional you really are if you can't even submit the documents that I requested on time in a duly fashion. They can't come out and say, hey, this wasn't on. They kind of, use lyrical words to send you to hell in such a way that you're looking forward to it. It's bad the whole time. So how do you respond? You address the behavior directly. So in our practice, when we talk about managers, the thing that we say is, if you see something, say something. So if someone makes a remark towards me in a sarcastic way, I'm going to like, sorry, I didn't get that. What did you mean by that? And really kind of put them on the spot. And they'll do that once or twice. So they go like, oh, I'm called out on this behavior. Or they're like, I really mean that. White is not your color. It brings out your gray hair and it makes you look old. Okay, thank you for saying it kindly. It's the truth, but but call them out on it. Address the behavior using I statements. I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate the email that you sent through to me. in such a way, insinuating that I'm not professional in the way that I'm dealing it, or that my prices are exuberant. You don't have the facts. You can't make these declarations. Please don't do that again. Explain how it makes you feel and set clear boundaries. If we talk about how we use this in negotiation, they will avoid conflict. They will withdraw from the situation, and they will allow others to walk all over themselves. Sorry, all over them. But there will be hooks the whole time. They will be like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight, but they're going to go at you. You will hear bad things from Hello Peter about how bad this lawyer is, or bad Google reviews, or never use that lawyer, but they'll never tell you that to your face. So if you're negotiating, they'll go like yes, 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 and then behind your back it'll be no all the way. So how do you respond? You actively engage the conflict resolution process, and you hear their needs, and you work towards a mutually agreed upon solution. Sorry, ladies and gents, I just want to confirm that that is the right one. Sorry, it is not the right one. That is the same one as passive. You will see on page 7, negotiating with a passive-aggressive communication, there is withdrawing from the situation. Oh, it is the right one. So apologies for that. Right, so last one. How do you handle passive-aggressive communication when there's conflict? How do you see it? They will make indirect attacks. They will use sarcasm. They will use sabotaging others. You won't know where you stand with them. You don't know if they're giving you a compliment or they're making insinuations. So you don't know if you are in a good space with them or a bad space, because it's how do I interpret this? And when you call them on, it's like, no, how can you ever think that? No, I think you're the best boss ever. But it's not necessarily what they said, but it's just the way that they said it. And now the intention becomes clear. And that's the challenge. So address the behavior directly and calmly. Refocus the conversation and resolve the underlying conflict. What is the issue? Drop the voice. Slow down your pace of delivery. Eye contact. I see this, passive-aggressive Pam. I see this. This is what's come to my attention. What is your need with regards to this? What was the outcome that you would have liked to see here? When Polly and I are in a conflict, one of the worst questions, that's the best questions to ask, but one of the worst questions to ask is, just that remark. What were you trying to achieve through saying that? Sorry, that remark. What did you try to achieve by saying that? So no, I really don't want you to look like a clown when you're outside. So please don't wear that shirt. It's old and it's got mustard stains on it. I'm trying to save you from humiliation. Okay. Or what are you trying to say? I don't feel appreciated when you wear that shirt. Your ex gave you that shirt. Please don't wear it. It insults me. I feel insecure when you wear that. Can we please just get rid of it? Okay. It's not about the shirt. There's something else underlying. And if we don't address that, then we're going to get into a lot of trouble. So please know your power. Know what you are pulling for. If there's not clarity on what the conversation is about, if there's not clarity on what the outcome is, it's easy for people to get ticky and talk and say a lot of things without getting to the core of what is actually meant. And the challenge with this is if you have a little unholy huddle there that can use sarcasm towards each other, and they can kind of, moan to each other, and they use very derogatory terms amongst each other, coming together against someone else, that becomes really bad for your organization. That becomes really bad for whoever they go against. It will not be open warfare, but they will take you out at your knees. They will be looking for the trigger points that you have. They'll be looking towards your insecurities. And like a high school girl, they will jump on it and use words and cut you down to size that you won't believe, in a passive-aggressive way, with a smile on their face and a standing up in hand. Note this. Know what you are fighting for. Right, Mervyn, that's the end of part 2. Any other questions with regards to passive-aggressive communication? Any questions or remarks that anybody would like to have? Mervyn, some personal experiences you would like to share? See, ladies and gents, that's a passive-aggressive comment now. Like, making sure and putting Mervyn on the spot and implying that he has passive-aggressive issues, and now he needs to answer that. Mervyn, over to you.
Yeah, Lou, I'd like to ask you what's the deal about my shirt, man?
I bought that for you for your birthday. I'm kidding.
Okay, we've got one interesting question here, and one of our participants would like to know, how do you differentiate between passive-aggressive communication and someone simply being reserved or shy?
Okay, passive or passive-aggressive. So passive and shy, all of those things. I think so let's just take this for what it is. When we talk about communication, there's an outcome that we would like to achieve. So in my passive communication, I don't want to be threatened. So my outcome is I'm actively taking part in the least amount of conflict that's there, and I'm actively shying away from it. When you are shy, you don't necessarily want to get on stage and do the hula. But if I push you, you have the willingness to stand up for yourself. If you don't agree with it, you're still going to stand up for yourself and assert yourself for what you want. If you have a passive communication style and that is linked with something that is almost like a immaturity or not being confident in who you are, then that kind of goes down. And I can ask you anything and you'll say yes to anything. So shyness and passive aggressive or passive communication, passive aggressiveness even, it's not the same thing. There's still I'm cool with who I am, and I'm cool with not being the expressive loud person. And I don't expect myself to be that, and I'm cool in that way. Yep, I hope that answers the question.
Great, thanks so much, Louis. Another one that just came in, I think a very interesting one, in an organizational setting, seems this question comes from, how do you respond to a passive-aggressive boss?
There's so many things I could say now. So on the one hand, it's and again, and this takes a lot of courage from ourselves, is if you see something, say something. So I appreciate that you are the senior person here. I don't appreciate you belittling me in front of the group. I don't appreciate the derogatory terms that you're using. Or if you have a problem, please come and address it with me calmly. Now, here's the thing. As soon as you go to that person and you identify, you go like, I think you are passive aggressive. The passive is going to go away and they're just going to be aggressive. So don't label it. Talk about how it makes you feel. It's me. You can't differentiate from my feelings. I feel that when you use these terms that I don't appreciate it. When you call me out in front of people, the behavior needs to change because this is the effect that it has on me. We don't want to go around labeling people, but we want to be an open communication to say, this, what you're doing isn't working for me for the following reason. Please adapt it in the following way. Mervyn?
Fantastic. Yo, the questions are lighting up quite a bit now. I think we all seem to be dealing with a lot of passive-aggressive people in our practices. So one person asked, for clarity, when you say know what you're fighting for, does that mean only respond on specific comments? I've often experienced not responding, but stating my boundaries clearly also works and in some way dismisses the passive-aggressive comments.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please note the following. The outcome of passive aggressiveness is still that they want reaction. So I'm goading you into reacting, and I'm hoping that if I use enough of these terms and strategies that you'll do what I want you to do. So to the point, absolutely. I can just also kind of ignore it. You go like, I'm deciding not to hear that remark. I'm deciding to give that to you in the best possible way and say, oh, thank you so much for commenting on my shirt. My wife gave it to me. I love it. Done. Any possible negativity there, shut down, done. We move on to the next point. So what's the conversation about? What's the outcome? If we're working together as a team, what is the goal of our team? We want to have a happy work environment. We want to make enough money to pay salaries and to pay, I don't get the word because we don't get bonuses. We want to pay bonuses at the end of the year. We want to help people. That's why we're here. So can you see that if this is the outcome of our team, that what you're saying is not in step with that. It's not helping. It's not engaging towards this. So know what you are fighting for. Know what the conversation is about. If you're in a relationship and a partnership with someone, longevity of your relationship is hopefully something that you're fighting for. So then the remarks that you make about my mother it's not landing. It's not helping us achieve that long-term goal. Can we address that? Can we communicate that going forward? I hope that answers. Mervyn, last question, and then we got to move on.
Fantastic. One more, and I think this one dovetails beautifully with the previous statement, but I'd like to get your views on it as well. This comes from YouTube. How do you deal with a person who wants to use passive-aggressive behavior to try to bait you and derail a negotiation?
Okay, so the word there is bait. And gaan jy bite is die vraag. So are you going to bite on it? So what do they say? It takes two to tango, but it takes one person to switch on the music. And if you don't want to dance, you can say no. I don't want to be drawn into your drama. So if I'm baiting you, what that is I'm trying to find a way. I'm trying to find a trigger. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know your triggers, someone else does, and they will use it. So in the Back to the Future, the trigger is, oh, you chicken. So if I say that, I know that you're going to respond, and you're going to do what I want you to do. Who's got control there? I do. So if I'm baiting Mervyn into saying, oh, but you can do this, and you can do this, and I'm hoping that he goes for it, as soon as he goes for it, bait is connected to a hook. And now I've got you on a line, and now I can do with you what I want to do with you. So if you're using the word bait, you're already acknowledging that the situation is there to get you to do something that you wouldn't have done if you had a clear thought or vision. So ladies and gentlemen, slow down, see it for what it is, make a good decision for yourself, go forward. Be assertive, know who you are, make a decision, and if someone else comes from the side, I hear you, I love my shirt, let's move on to the next topic. Happy with that, Mervyn?
Fantastic. Back over to you. I'm enjoying my coffee.
Right. So let's talk about the last part, the second last part, and that is just aggressive communication. So all the movies that I've watched with lawyers, you get someone that's big and tough, and they're like, rah, and they slap on the table, and the outcome for them is, I want to win. That's it. This is people that, if you have an aggressive communication style, what we said here is low consciousness forever, high consciousness for communicating. They can tell you exactly what they want to tell you, and they can verbalize it. They just don't care about you. It's about me. I'm winning. I'm the one that's going to go and do this. Raw. So what you get is, if you've ever seen Inside Out, this is kind of the little monster that's there. This is anger in the movie, and it's like, and it's easy for them to go into an aggressive or an angry approach. Why? Because that's how stuff gets done. If I shout hard enough, if I intimidate you long enough, if I slap the table, if I send you hard-worded emails with a lot of caps locks and exclamation marks, I'm going to intimidate you into doing what I want you to do. It's all about who holds the power, and they will take it by force. And the best animal I could find is this guy. Is a tiger. There's something that's like, this is intimidating. I don't want to dance with that guy. If he says it's blue, even if it's not. So how do you identify this? Well, the good ways is they will interrupt you when you're talking. I just don't care. You are making your point. I just don't care. I will tell you what I want, what I really, really want in a way that I know, and I don't care if I'm interrupting you. It's your opinion has got no value here. You're wasting my time. Now, if you associate this, there's like personality styles and things like that. If you associate this with someone that's also very task-orientated and they are go people, and you mix these two, you get like a very bad typhoon of aggression. They will interrupt you. They will speak at you. They're not going to ask you questions. They're not going to give you time to respond. This is like a general that kind of speaks, orders, barks. That's it. That's the way they would like. And they threaten, I'm going to, and then you have all, the drill sergeant, threats that they have there. And if this is a person that is in power, they will yield that power, and they will yield it even just in a threat. They don't need to fire you. They just need to know that you know that they can. And then they can do with you what they want. They use insults and name calling and belittling language. So it'll be seen as a term of endearment, but it will be, let's say, so let's use today as an example. So there's a lady at your work that you feel is passive. She's passive in the way that she deals with the work. Now, one day she comes to work with a little polka dot, dress. Very nice. And an aggressive person will say, oh, look at Minnie Mouse. And instead of it just being a remark, what it now starts being is that comes like, oh, Minnie Mouse. And that becomes the name. That becomes the name that you call them. And in that way of naming that person, you're actually being derogatory to who they are. You're not seeing them for who they are. If someone goes, oh, look at the big guy on campus, you're giving them labels that is actually there to break down who they are and what they're. So obviously there are good names. Please call your partner loving names. Yeah, okay, cool. Insults, name calling, blame shifting, and accusing others. They are never wrong. Like, I told you to do this, and now you did it. This is what happened. No. And it's always someone else that didn't do their work. I'm the one right. I'm in control. I'm the one barking. I'm the one taking control. The big thing for people, if we talk about, the personality style, many a times aggressive people also, they like to be in control. And if they feel that control is slipping, they will fight for it. They cannot be the one that is not leading the meeting. They cannot be the one that is not driving the car. And if they're driving the car and someone else cuts them off, there's even a bigger explosion. Why? Because I'm in control and you're not playing according to the rules, and how dare you? So they will try to control others and order others to what they want to do. They will disregard and ignore the feelings of others, and they use expanding language, body language, and they will raise their voice. You know that they are there because they're in your face. When on LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, on Zoom, on your Teams meetings, it's close to the camera. They kind of feel like you're in their space the whole time. You feel intimidated even over the internet. It's just like, yes, that guy's breath smells over the internet. It's just there, and they use this as a scare tactic as well. So if this is an aggressive person, I'm talking way in extreme things now, the body language will be expansive, the suit will be expensive, the briefcase will be, the best possible crocodile leather, the pen will be something that is way expensive. Why? Because I'm coming in and I'm intimidating you already just by who I am. And the business card is gold embossed, that that I'm not going to be taken advantage of. Now, if you're doing mediation and that's one of the parties that come in and there's expansiveness and there's an aggressiveness, you need to be able to see it for what it is. Don't be intimidated. Empty cans also make a lot of noise. So aggression communication leaves you isolated. Why? I don't want to spend time with an aggressive person. I don't want to, if I can't have a constructive conversation with you, I can't be fighting about everything. Everything is not about your right or me telling you that you're wrong. I need to be able to have a conversation in a way that we can agree to disagree, or that we can have different opinions, and that you're cool with that. And that you can hear me say things and speak to you. Because if not, I don't want to talk to you. If I want to be shouted at, I'll, drive like a hooligan and someone else will shout. I don't care. I'm choosing not to engage with this. And that leaves other people feel isolated. So the results is people see you as intolerant or arrogant or even overbearing, because you just keep on talking, in my face the whole time and just intimidating, telling me the things to do. And it's not even that you're micromanaging. You're not managing me at all. You're just barking orders and you're wanting me to do things. And that becomes, people get defensive. People get, I don't want that, boss. I'm going to head down and just do it. And the challenge with that is in a work environment, if people get to the point of, I'm disengaging with my boss, I'm just sitting over here, I'm just doing my work, you are not getting what you paid for. You don't want a donkey to do the donkey work. You want someone with intelligence. You want someone that has that's done the work to contribute to the work that they're doing. They use direct aggression and they damage relationships. There's hostility, there's intimidation the whole time. So I don't want to, every time I'm in that person's presence, it feels like I need to cover my wickets. I need to check my words. I need to double check everything that I'm doing. I can't just, do something in the fear of setting them off, triggering something with them. That is not a safe space to be, ladies and gents. But the fact is that people use aggressive communication because it works. It's worked for them in the past, and it works for them in the future. Now, many a times, again, there's so many things we can say about this. There's aggressiveness at home. The aggressiveness, that's how how people I look up to kind of dealt with it. So I want to do the same. It's not, I don't care about your feelings. This is what we're doing. That's why we're doing it. Let's go. Now, please hear me. There are some times in life that we need to do this. I don't care what you're feeling right now, but the house is burning. We need to get out. Sorry that you're crying, but I'm picking you up and I'm making the decision. We're running now. But there are times where this is not the way to go. You're losing your cool with your 3-year-old because of the crayons that's on the floor is not the best possible solution for that specific moment. When we are doing mediation, one of the things that we want to do the whole time is de-escalate, diffuse, talk about the topic, talk about the solution. What are we agreeing about? Awesome. Yeah, we are making progress. What are the niggly points? I'm not belittling them. It's big things that we need to discuss. But what are the things that we're challenging with? Okay, now let's work on that. Oh, I see you getting aggressive with this. Okay, fine. I know there's a touchy subject. I know everybody's emotional about this, but let's make a good logical decision so that we can help the emotions, calm down. Great. Should we take a 5-minute break? Yeah. You know what? This is not the way we work here. We don't use, we don't curse at each other. It's not the way that we work here. No. I'm not. So I see that you're angry. I'm not going to allow you to shout at my client. That's not the way that I do things. So if you want to continue down that road, I'm going to ask you to please excuse yourself. That's just not the way we do things. De-escalate, diffuse, moving on. So how do you deal with aggressive communicators? If it's in writing, they will use threats, they will use insults, and they will blame. Mervyn, thank you so much for your request for the following. It has been rejected with the disdain that it deserves for you thinking that this would be in order. That wasn't necessary. But it's just like I want to show you that I have a dictionary and I'm not afraid to use it. I will put you down with the words. What do? You remain calm. You remain assertive. You use active reading or listening. What is the other interpretation? What's the thing behind this? And understand their perspective. State your needs and boundaries clearly and respectfully. The fact that you are shouting does not mean that you are right. It means that you have a loud voice. That's it. Doesn't make you right. Let's just take a step back. Let's see what we're talking about. Again, what's the problem we're trying to solve? I'm not going to solve the person. What's the problem we're trying to solve? And we work from there. When you're in negotiations, they will use threats, intimidation, bully tactics. I'm going to just walk out. No, we're going to stop it here. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to get the best one. I'm going to go to Santon and get someone that has a name on the building, and I'm going to take you to court. I'm going to keep you up in the high court. You won't know what to hit you. Intimidation. And you're sitting there going like, remain calm, assertive. Refuse to be intimidated, and de-escalate the situation by focusing on finding a mutual agreement system. I say, I hear you. What are we trying to solve? What's the issue? I want to get divorced in the next 6 months because I need to get my wife on my passport so that me and her child can go to Switzerland for Christmas. Cool. How do we make that happen? Can you see that we can achieve as much by just speaking calmly with each other than shouting? The one thing that I really want to say is, if you're in negotiations and someone is shouting at you, don't shout back. There's one thing, I'm going to shout back at you, and now I hope that I've intimidated you enough that you're going to calm down. Many a times, that's not the way to go. If you punch me and I punch you back, we're just starting a fight. Right, last one, conflict. How do we see aggressive communication come through in conflict? They blame others, they raise their voice, they use threats, they become verbally or physically abusive. It's the intimidation factor all over. You better be scared of me. You don't know what I can do. I can, you won't wake up tomorrow morning. I will go after your parents. Just things and things and things and things. How do we de-escalate the situation? By remaining assertive and calm. Listen to what is being said and what is being meant behind what is said, and find a mutual agreement. It's always keep calm, focus on the problem. Keep calm, focus on the problem. Bring them back to paper. Best way of negotiating or handling conflict, if you're working in an environment, is not to sit across the table from each other, because that's how we play chess. We are in conflict with each other. So a good way, if you're negotiating, is to let the people sit at a 90-degree angle, because now, if you're there and I'm here, now we're working together. It's not me attacking you. It's we're solving the problem over there. We are working together. I'm not in conflict with you. I'm not. If you're inviting me to conflict, I don't necessarily need to get engaged. I'm hearing you. See, peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the ability to handle conflict in a peaceful means. We will have conflict in life. It's just how we deal with it. If it gets escalated to something else. The quote by Max Lucado is, conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. The fact that I am loud and expressive and in your face is an invitation for you to get to my level. Ladies and gentlemen, people will intimidate you and invite you to get into an intimidation level, and they will drag you down to that level, and they will beat you with experience. Do not engage. Know your power. Up to a couple of years ago, there weren't necessarily predators for elephants. Now there's a couple of lions that are looking to kill elephants, but generally they didn't have necessary predators. And people that kind of intimidate them, they might be, on the lookout for, but they are not scared. They know who they are. They know how big they are. They know how hard they can, do things. Know who you are. Know the power that you have with regards to that. You have the ability to stand up. Keep calm. Be resolute in who you are and move on from there. So, Mervyn, that's aggressive communication. Any questions from the floor before we close? We go to assertiveness after this.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Louis. I'm going to give everyone, let's say, 3 or 4 minutes to type their questions. I think everyone, this section specifically, people were listening very, very attentively, because this is really the problematic one that we deal with. So as we wait for the questions to come in, I would like to just take this minute before we get to the end and people start dropping off of the webinar to thank you, Louis, for making yourself available.
We still have another quadrant, Mervyn. I just want to say we still have another time to go.
I know, that's what I'm just saying. I want to do this before I kick you off and people start dropping off at the end of the webinar. So I'll do a quick thank you at the end as well. But for now, from my side, from everyone's side, thank you so much for making yourself available free of charge to do this webinar. And we've had some really nice feedback in the comments. So folks, just before we go on to the final section, so here are ways that you can get in touch with Louis, bearing in mind, he has given 2 to 3 hours of his life to do this free of charge. So I think all of you will forgive me if we give him a little bit of free publicity here. And look at him blushing. He didn't know I was going to do this, shame, poor thing. So here's how you can get in touch with Louis, guys. You can follow him on LinkedIn. I put the link there. You can follow Incense Dynamics, which is their company, on LinkedIn. Visit incensedynamics.coza, or you can email him, louis@incensedynamics.co.za. In addition to doing these public kind of address situations, Louis also does private facilitation coaching on a one-on-one level, as well as for firms. And I can speak from experience. I have implemented some of his one-on-one coaching with myself and staff, as well as some training for my staff in-house. And I really can recommend Louis, as all of you can see in this webinar. He really is an incredible resource to utilize within your business. So please do show Louis some love. Get in touch with him. See if you can also connect with him and learn from him. The other easy way that you can support Louis is give him some love in the comments. I really appreciate all the love that we've given Louis in the comments. And then finally, our upcoming CPD webinar in, I believe it's in a month's time, we will be sharing those details, which will be a deeper dive into today's content, which will be a paid for CPD presentation. Please don't run off now that I've thanked Louis. We've got, as he said, a whole another quadrant to get through, and this is what we all came here for, which is assertive communication. So I've got a few very, very nice questions and comments here. So let's get this one comment all the way from the Cape. Karen says, I feel it's easier to deal with an aggressive person than passive aggressive. What's your views on that, Louis?
Yes, the short answer is yes. It's easier to be engaged in conventional warfare, where I'm seeing there's a cannon on that side and I'm on this side and I know what I'm fighting, than fighting the Cold War, which is a covert operation, which is like you don't quite know, it's submarines everywhere. You don't quite know what's happening or what the position is or what people are doing or why they're doing it. So aggressiveness, you can kind of see it for what it is. Passive aggressiveness is there's this constant, in Afrikaans we say onderstroming. There's the undercurrent the whole time that you can't quite see from the top. But if you get drawn into that, they're going to take you, from now until Monday. So absolutely, aggressiveness it's easy, and it's also easy to identify. But where a passive aggressive person, if you identify it, they might back off. If you acknowledge that and saying, "Hey, you're being aggressive," like you don't know how aggressive I can be, and then it's open warfare. So yeah, it's more difficult to see. A little bit might be easier to manage it, to say, I see this is not acceptable. Versus aggressive is you really need to know who you are to go toe to toe with an aggressive person and call them on their actions. I hope that helps. Thanks, Mervyn.
Absolutely. And then a very interesting point that someone made from a cultural point of view. Nasim said, in my experience, loudspeakers are labeled as being aggressive, especially taking into consideration cultural dynamics.
Absolutely. And I want to say, on the one hand, if you add the gender perspective there as well, a loud man is assertive and strong. A loud woman is a B word. So now it's the same person with the same expressive level and volume and intensity, but negatively from a gender point of view, that's just she's a ball buster. Want to get there. The guy we kind of expect it from. Culturally, absolutely. There's Afrikaans guys that are strong and in your face, and they believe that's how business should get done, and they will go for the jugular every single time. Where there are some other cultures where it's like, I cannot speak to you in a derogatory way because you are older than me. I need to respect you. I need to come to you in a more submissive way. I'm not belittling myself. I'm just coming in a more submissive way to address that. And the outcome is actually to not be submissive, but to be, when I say cool, to treat everybody at the same level of respect. Can I treat the 24-year-old guy that's busy with his articles in the same manner of humanness as I do the partner, if I do the guy, the CEO that's my client? We play the audience, but there's a level of it's who I am. I'm treating you with respect, not because you deserve it, but because of who I am, and we kind of take it from there. I hope that answers the question, no?
Yeah, I think in a very South African way, we can just say, be lekker. Just be lekker. I think, to that point, I think it's very important, these cultural and gender-based perceptions is to actually get through to the message rather than focusing too much on the messenger. And I think that's something that, especially in a very heterogeneous, multicultural country like South Africa, it's something that we should celebrate, and it's something that we need to practice on a daily basis. To really look past our own cultural biases and actually see what the person is saying. And I think just to go into what you're saying, I think that the idea of understanding assertive communication as opposed to your aggressive, passive, and passive-aggressive communications is very important as a building block towards that.
I want to say, I think one of the main things is we need to know where we're coming from, but I cannot use anything of my past as an excuse. I'm a white Afrikaans guy. That's why I do it this way. It's if you have a choice to do something differently or better, then don't use your culture as an excuse. It's like, because I am a white Afrikaans guy, therefore I can. Whoa, no, that doesn't entitle or disqualify you from anything in the approach that we have. And I think if we are in a corporate environment, in a professional environment, there's a level of professionalism and a level of us as a corporate community that speaks to everyone. I'm nice to the tea lady and I'm nice to the head of finance. Why? It's who I am. I'm acknowledging their individuality because of who I am. It's not because they demand respect. Everybody demands respect. I don't know if that helps. Right, Mervyn, we've got 25 minutes left. Can we go on to the next one?
Fantastic. Let's rock and roll.
So let's rock and roll into the last one, and this is what we're here for. So agile assertiveness. So how are we assertive? A little bit more assertive. So we have high openness for communication. I know what I want to say. I can say it. I can express it in a constructive way, and I'm cool with other people. One of the things that I wanted to say to what Mervyn just said is, ladies and gentlemen, please note, biggest truth in your life: no one thinks like you. No one thinks like you. Whatever is obvious to you is not obvious to the other person. It's not obvious to your twin sister that is the same race, gender, socioeconomic background, same household that you grew up with. That person has got a fundamentally different view on the world than you do. And when we talk about assertiveness, it's understanding that I am interacting with someone that is coming from a different point of view than I am. That the way that I see the world is not the way to see the world, that it is my perspective. I'm 46, I'm Afrikaans, I'm male, I'm married to one wife, I've got 2 boys. I have a different view on the world than an Afrikaans male married to one wife with 3 girls. It's a different worldview. But now we have different races, different genders, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different qualifications, different levels of experience, different ways of thinking on this, different relational strategies, and we think that everybody should see the world the way that we see it. No. So when we talk about assertiveness, the best animal I could find, as I alluded to earlier, is being an elephant. It's just slow, steady, know who you are, community-based, not intimidated, just kind of going with it. And the way that you can identify someone that is assertive is there's a strong sense of self-worth. And there's healthy boundaries. A boundary is, what do they say? Healthy boundaries make for good neighbors. It's knowing where I stop and you start. So I am okay to work for you. I'm not okay to work for you after 5. I'm okay to do the following things. I'm not okay to do the following things. It's cool in you coming to my house. It's not cool that you open my fridge and drink all my Coca-Cola. There's boundaries. And healthy boundary is also a boundary that I've communicated. Hey, this is where it ends. This is cool. You can come and visit me 3 days. I'm not being nasty. I'm just telling you where it ends. In communication and in relationships, many a times, the biggest thing that causes conflict is unmet expectations. An assertive person knows what they want, and they are okay to express it and even negotiate to say, what can we agree on? There's clear and direct communication. It's not blunt. It's not blunt force trauma to the head. I'm still going to tell you in very clear ways that I was not, and the level of work that you gave me on this file was not up to par. It's not what we agreed upon. Is there another way that we could do this? Is there a way I could help you? But note that this is the expectation. I'm not threatening you. I'm giving you the facts. I'm sharing my opinion with you. Is there another way we can help this? Maybe next time you could do 1, 2, or 3. Clear communication. We are open in sharing our opinions. But also, if I share my opinion and say, oh, I want to go for a pizza tonight, and the group votes that we're going for a burger, I'm not going to go like, oh, the group is stupid. Oh, the group. Cool. You had your opportunity. You shared. You made your case. Now let's move on. If you were not okay for the group to vote, then you shouldn't have put yourself in that position to be voted off the island. Just step away there. They are fearless in confrontation and conflict and disapproval. Why? I'm not going to get into a boxing match with you. We're here to solve the problem, and I'm okay to do that. I'm okay to compromise. I'm okay to have a conversation. I'm okay to work this through, because that's how we grow. That's how we solve. That's how we move forward. They are consistent in their verbal and non-verbal communication. I'm not going to go like, hi, so nice to see you. What you see, if we press mute in life and you see someone's body language and you hear what they said, it's the same thing. People with assertive communication, the mindset that they have is, you can quote me on that. Whatever I say, you can quote me on that. If I say something to John about Mervyn and John goes and tells Mervyn about that, it must be that Mervyn would hear it from me directly as well. You can quote me on that. That's just that's openness. We always tell our boys, we don't make promises. Your yes is your yes and your no is your no. That's it. I don't need to promise you that it's going to be on time. I'm telling you it's going to be on time. That's it. You can take me to my word. We have a relaxed demeanor in social environments. Why? I don't need to impress you. I'm not intimidated. I can have a constructive conversation with the CEO of the head judge of the Constitutional Court. It's a little bit intimidating, but I'm cool with who I am and I'm cool with who he is, and that's fine. And that also means that I'm cool with, speaking with someone that is a construction worker in my house, building a wall that came from another country that is in a socioeconomically different place than I am. I'm cool to have a conversation with that person. Why? I don't have a seniority complex. I don't need to prove that I'm better than him. I'm cool with who I am and I'm cool with who he is. There's a respect for others' views and opinions and feeling in control in life. And the result of that is there's increased self-confidence. Why? Because I'm true to who I am. I figured it out, and I know what I like and I know what I want. I know what I like, and I'm not going to be apologetic about that. I'm also know that you have some things that you like, and we're willing to kind of negotiate on that. So in married life, you have one person that's an extrovert that wants to go and see people, and you've got another one that wants to stay at home, and they get married. And now you have a Friday night, you need to decide what to do. So negotiation is, hey, can we go out this week and stay in next week? Okay, we stay in next week. I'm so cool with who I am, and I'm happy to negotiate because I know what my wants are, and I also know that you've got wants. And we can talk around that. And then there's reduced stress and anxiety. Why? Because what I'm saying is what I mean. I'm not asking you to interpret it. I'm not asking you to kind of read between the lines. I'm telling you the way that it is in a nice and constructive way, and I hope that you get it. So how do we become more assertive? Well, here's the main thing. In written communication, maintain a professional and a respectful tone. So again, if what you wrote in an email finds its way to the ethics board of the Constitutional Court, will it be frowned upon? If your emails to your clients is used in a court case to show that you are fit and proper to be a lawyer, will it be evidence to prove that you are, or will it be damning evidence? Be clear and communicate, clear and direct communication, expressing your needs, focus on common ground and finding mutual solutions. We've said that so many times. Use I statements and maintain a high level of integrity and truthfulness. You can quote me on that. What I'm saying is what I'm saying. I'm not saying this and I'm going to go behind your back and stab you and find something else. Integrity is not a question. If you are in a legal firm and you have people working with you and they are lying about things like, no, I didn't use the last T. Oh, no, I didn't take the car out, and do a private trip. No, I didn't. If there's questions about integrity in the legal entities that you are in, that's a big red flag. And if I just stepped on your toes, there's a conversation you need to have with yourself. Transparency with all your interactions. If we talk about negotiations, you clearly state what your needs are. You actively listen. You negotiate in good faith. We are willing to give you the beach house, but we would like to have the Kia Carnival. Good faith. We're making an exchange. No, you're not going to go, okay, we've got the Kia. Now, let's schneid them for the... No, we open it in our transaction. People can look into this and go like, okay, we can see what it is. I'm not trying to, catch you with a quick one. We focus on finding proper common ground. We are prepared to compromise, and we are in our negotiations. We are brief. We say less. You don't confuse the other person with extra details or vague comparative requests. Deliver your request and stop. This is what I want. This is how I want it. Done. Respond. Many a times, if we're insecure, what I would like to do is I would say, Mervyn, let's go out. Mervyn, let's go for a beer tomorrow night, because beer is actually very good for you, and I think it'll be good for us, for our relationship, to go for a beer. And you might even, and now I'm trying to quantify what my position is, because I'm not necessarily secure in it. So what I'm going to have is verbal diarrhea and go like, in the hope that you eventually either stop me or believe me. If you have assertiveness and you cool with who you are and your point of view, you can put it down as a fact or as a statement or as an opinion and be okay to take whatever happens to that. The last part is when we talk about conflict and assertiveness is there's active listening. You express your needs and your concerns clearly and respectfully. You focus on finding a mutual solution. You maintain professionalism and respectful demeanor for the other person. Here's the thing, you take personal responsibility for your actions. If I did not send the document, I cannot blame my secretary. It's on me. If I told you I would do this, my word, my yes is my yes, my no is my no. I didn't do it. I'm sorry. Willing to take the consequences that comes with that. Assertiveness is all about being okay with who you are and expressing it in such a way that we can find mutual ground, we can compromise, we can come to an agreement that everybody walks out. What do they say? If there's negotiation and everybody felt that they lost the same amount, that's successful negotiation. Yes. But there's also a level of, okay, cool. Let's try to, at least make everybody walk out of here with a common sense of purpose, with a common sense of accomplishment, and a common sense of this was fair. It wasn't nice, but it was fair. Let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, assertiveness is a human skill that you can grow in. It's something that you can focus on. A good way to get to assertive communication, and when we get into the extended period or the extended conversations, a good way to practice assertiveness on the one hand is just to take a beat. To allow yourself time to think of your response. So if someone comes at me and shouts at me, I can take a step back. I can really assess the situation for what it is, and I can choose my response. Now, that's an important word, response. Because if you're pushing my trigger, I'm going to react. There's a prediction. If you press this button, that's going to happen. There's a reaction. A response is I'm taking time and I'm choosing how I would like to respond to this. Be responsive. Don't be reactive. See the situation for what it is. Take a beat. You can even ask, we talk about the 5-word question. Tell me more about that. I'm struggling, I'm not playing dumb. I'm giving you an opportunity to explain yourself better. Tell me more about that. And hopefully, as they're explaining, they either realize that it's not a good option, or you're like, oh, okay, now I understand better. Why? Because I've suspended judgment long enough to get relevant information and ask good questions to have an opinion, to have a valid response, not just a reaction. So in closing, we get some of the last questions on assertiveness after this. So please prepare your questions. We're going to have a couple of minutes just to go through this. So just in recap, these are the 4 animals that we've identified for today. We have the little mouse with low openness and low communication and low conscience for others. That's passive. And what passive things are, in passive people, they are invisible. They don't express their opinions, and they have a fear of attracting criticism. We talk about the passive aggressiveness, passive aggressive Pam, that's walking around with sarcasm and silent treatment, and they don't want to directly confront other people, and they are mistrusted. People don't trust them. I don't want to be in your presence. I don't know where I'm standing with that guy. And the last 2 we had was, there's aggressive communication. You lose your temper. They interrupt you. They don't listen. And that leaves people isolated. I don't want to be associated with you. I don't want to interact with you because it feels like we're fighting the whole time. And the place where we want to be is just gentle giant elephant walking down the road. You are trusted. You have the ability to express positive and negative ideas and feelings in an open, honest, and direct way. It recognizes your rights while respecting the rights of others. That is what assertiveness and assertive communication is all about. So that is the end of our time together today from my side. So what I would like to ask is 2 things. 1, if you have any questions about assertiveness or the assertive communication, please share that now so that Mervyn can moderate and ask a couple of questions. For the rest of you, in reaction and response to our time together today, I would like to ask you to just in the chat, just drop 3 words. 3 words that you feel best describe what you've decided today. Something that came up, a thought that you had, something that's personal to you. You can use code words. You only share what you're comfortable with, but please share something. Put something out there that says, this is what we are, and this is what I'm going to try to do different from here on out. So Mervyn, that's assertiveness and the kind of the recap for today. Any questions on assertiveness that we can answer before we close? Mervyn?
Fantastic. Yeah, we've got 1 or 2 comments, queries here. There are 1 or 2 where someone asks about something about assertiveness in personal relationships. I think it's a little bit outside of the purview of today's messaging. However, can they email you, Louis, and just be in touch with you direct?
So, ladies and gentlemen, just that you know, I am awesome at speaking. I am not great at typing. So if you get a response from me via email, it will be dictated. So if there's spelling mistakes, please just blame Google on that. More than happy to take responses and to set up a coffee if it's necessary, just to kind of talk things through. I think on a personal level with assertiveness, it's just, do you know what you want? That's the question. Do you know what you want, and can you in a constructive way express that to someone else? And are you going to be okay if you don't get what you want in the way that you want it? So yeah, Mervyn, next question.
Absolutely. Just from my side, before I think we've got one more comment that I'd like to put to you, but the feedback coming in, guys, geez, please keep it going. Really, I absolutely, this is so valuable. And Louis, amazing feedback that you're getting from all of our participants. Really, thank you so much. Someone states, respect for me means that you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to tell others what their opinion should be. And I like that. I think it dovetails a lot with what your point was a few minutes back about suspending judgment. I want to start using that term more. Just suspend judgment. Find out more, get all the facts before just having a knee-jerk reaction.
I want to say, I think when we talk about respect, it's the same for everyone. So whatever opportunities or rights or privileges you want to entitle to yourself, respect is entitling that to the other person as well, in the same measure. So if I want Mervyn to hear me out and to hear my opinion and to suspend judgment before, making a declaration, respect indicates that I will do the same to Mervyn, that I will respond and act in the same way. Now, here's the challenge, ladies and gentlemen. Not everybody is a Mervyn. You're going to respond in a specific way. You're going to interact in a specific way, and the other person is going to react in a different way. They're going to come at you. They're going to see an opportunity, and they want to, put you in your place. And you need to be able to go like, cool, I'm not going to react. I'm going to choose who Louis is, and I'm going to respond in a way congruent with my character. So the challenge is, do you know who you are? Do you know what's important to you? Do you know what's the best possible way for you to react? Do you know who you are and how you would like the world to see you? In one of our practices, we're getting like goal setting for 2025, and one of the activities we do is like classic life coaching is like, at the end of your life, at your funeral, what would you like people to say about you? The flip side of that is, at the end of your life, at your funeral, what would you like to say about yourself? Who's the person that you would like to be? And if we have clarity on that, assertive communication just becomes so much easier to go like, I know who I am. I'm not going to be intimidated by you. We can have that conversation. Do you have a next question, next remark?
Fantastic. I think we've got some comments coming in. I think from my side, just in terms of housekeeping, folks, for those who want to watch this webinar again on demand, it will be up on StreamYard as an on-demand watch, as well as on YouTube as an on-demand video. And you'll see the picture for the video floating around on LinkedIn and Facebook, so you're welcome to catch it there as well. I am going to be putting this onto our podcast, so you can listen to it in the car. So please look out for that. From my side, just a reminder, go to thinklegal.coza to register for events, join WhatsApp groups, purchase resources, and view past webinars. A reminder that Louis will be doing a deep dive into the topic of Agile Assertiveness as a paid CPD training on the 18th and 19th of March this year. As soon as we have our CPD allocation, those registration links will be going out. Now, before our closing quote, I see there have been one or two nice things that have come in. Someone says talking is not equal to communicating. And I can be very aggressive and say, why does that come through when I'm talking and not when Louis is talking?
I want to say, if you've ever had a lecturer, you would know, Mervyn, the fact that the lecturer is speaking does not mean that he's communicating. So absolutely to the point.
Careful, I know for a fact we have a few lecturers in the audience today. Another person says, assertive communication or assertiveness can be used to solve problems, legal issues, and be direct without being disrespectful and listen more. Another person says, best motto, the toes you step on the way you get to the top are connected to the backside you're going to have to kiss on the way back down. Force is rarely okay. Another person says, pause, think, respond. I'm loving the feedback that's coming in here.
Good. Ladies and gents, the last quote I just want to leave you with is from Charles Glassman. He says, be calm, yet assertive. Be meek. Don't confuse my meekness for weakness. Be meek, but yet courageous. Be gentle, but be bold. Be kind, but be strong. And in that, I wish you an assertive Friday and having good conversations with the people in your life. Thank you, Mervyn. Thank you for the time. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Louis, from all of us who are in the room today, those watching later on, from myself and my team. Thank you, Louis, for an absolutely eye-opening presentation. Folks, we will see you for the next one next month for AI literacy from a legal perspective. And we will be ending the stream in a few minutes. Just once again, Louis, wow, absolutely great, guys. Please have a look at Louis on how to get in touch with Louis. I'll pop it back on the screen if I can find it. Please get in touch with him on LinkedIn via email or via their website. So from myself, from Louis, from everyone at the Think Legal team, we wish you a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. And most of all, thank you to all of you who have attended today. What we do would not be possible without you. So we will see you next time. Have a phenomenal weekend, everybody. And I'm ending the stream in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and goodbye.